bhutani prakritim yanti bhutani mamikam kalpakshaye punaha tani. And again the individuals kalpadav, when the creation takes place, visrujamyaham, I create them. That means it looks as though Ishwar, God has got a will, but God cannot have a will. God is a presence. If God has a will, then he will be an individual. If he is an individual, then he is like us only. He will have likes and dislikes. If he has likes and dislikes, then he is like us only. He becomes another individual. Anybody who has got a will, in the deep sleep state, there is no will. You transcend the will. You are free from the will. In the deep sleep state, you are free from the will. You are free. You transcend the body. You transcend the thought. You transcend the will. And therefore, at that time, there is no problem. You don't see anything. You don't miss anything. You are non-dual. You are a non-dual presence. Presupposing that non-dual presence is the whole waking world, is the whole dream world, is the whole deep sleep state as a third state, as an unmanifest state. Punastani kalpadam kalpada. It is the law of karma. Anything that goes into the unmanifest state has to become manifest. And anything that becomes manifest has to become unmanifest. During the whole day, we have become manifest as jivas. And in the night, when we go to sleep, that is unmanifest state. That is called kalpakshaya. Whether it is before the birth or after the death or in the sleep, it is the same. In the unmanifest state, there cannot be any gradation. There cannot be any differences. In the manifest state also, there is no gradation. It is manifest. It is unmanifest. In the manifest state, there can be gradation, sthula, sukshma, etc. But in the unmanifest state, there is no gradation at all. There is no sthula manifestation and the sukshma unmanifest. When it is unmanifest, everything is unmanifest. The forms are unmanifest, the sounds are unmanifest, the tastes are unmanifest, the touches are unmanifest, the smells are unmanifest. Every perception is unmanifest. The sense organs also are unmanifest. The faculties are also unmanifest. And in that unmanifest state, there cannot be any gradation. Whether it is unmanifest state before the birth, either the unmanifest after the death, or the unmanifest state in the deep sleep state, there is no difference. The deep sleep cannot be deeper than death, please. It cannot be deeper than death. Death cannot be deeper than deep sleep also. After the death and the sleep, the deep sleep state, and the deep sleep state, and after the death and before the birth, it is all in unmanifest state. In that unmanifest state, there is no jiva. Jiva becomes unmanifest. When the individual becomes unmanifest, then what is there is only the Paramatma. The absolute alone is present. You cannot experience after waking up. You say, "I experienced something." It is anubhuyamanam. The deep sleep state also is experience. If it is experienced, then what is it that you experience? You did not experience any object. You don't remember any object. When you don't remember any object, when you don't experience what is not there, you can't experience. What is there alone, you can experience. What is not there, you can't experience. What is there alone, you can experience. And therefore, what is there is only yourself. When nothing else is there, you are there. And therefore, it is your experience of yourself. And therefore, deep sleep state is an experience of yourself. Before life also, it is an experience of yourself. You say, it can also be, I don't remember anything. I don't remember also is known to you. That I don't remember is also objectified by you, is known to you. That I don't remember the absence. I don't remember anything means there was only the absence of the 5 elements. The absence of 5 elements I remember. And therefore, it is an experience. And similarly, the deep sleep state also is experienced. The absence of everything is experienced. And in the death also, I experience the death. In the death, why people are afraid? I won't experience any of this presence. My children I won't experience, my grandchildren I won't experience, and therefore everything becomes absent, everything becomes resolved, and therefore people are scared. But that experience is there. That experience you have to bank on. Anubhava is there. The deep sleep state is a matter of experience, and before the birth is a matter of experience. After the death also is a matter of experience, and therefore you are always there. Before the birth also you are there. After the death also you are there as a presence, and in the deep sleep state also, of course, you are there. And then in the waking you are there. In the dream you are there. Therefore, there is no time when you are not there. There is no place when you are not there. There is no time when you are not there. If you say here you are not, in the table you are not, the table is known to me, and therefore the table, when it is known to me, it is a thought. It is a thought in me, looking like an object. It is people think that what is the proof of its of the presence? What is the proof of the presence of the table? Because I see it. There is no other proof, and it is available for perception universally. Everybody can see it. I can see it, and therefore it is made of wood. I know it. I perceive it, and that is the only proof. G. This universe also is there. What is the proof of the universe? Because I see it, and it is available for perception for everybody, universal perception, and that is the only proof of the universe. G. And therefore it is not experienced as a creation. Somebody created it. That is not experienced. That is not the proof. That it is perceived alone is proof. That it is seen is alone is proof. And therefore whatever is seen is only a perception. And therefore an object is a perception before it is understood as a perception. It looks like an object independent of perception. It looks like an object independent of perception. It is a perception. It is not even an object of perception. It is perception, but then looking like a thing. But it is because whatever is a proof, perception is a proof. When perception is a proof, then perception alone it is only perception, because perception is the only proof. Because perception is the only proof, perception is the only pramanam, and therefore it is nothing but perception. But it looks like a thing, an object, solid object, and therefore all forms are the same. Tastes are also the perception, touches are the perception, smells are also perception, and tastes are also perception. They're all perception, 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 and therefore because they're all perceptions, and they seem to be objects, because they're all perceptions in avidya. They are not deliberate perceptions. I find myself with the perceptions of them. I find myself with the perceiving the universe, and therefore it is not deliberate. If it is deliberate perception, then we can say it is a subjective perception. It is not subjective perception also. Universally, it is not subjective perception. Everybody perceives, everybody finds himself with a perception, and that is what is called avidya, and that is what is called adhyasa. In adhyasa, just as you find yourself perceiving a rope in the snake, a snake in the rope, you find yourself seeing a snake in the rope. In the same manner, you find yourself seeing a universe also, and therefore the universe is not a deliberate adhyasa. It is adhyasa. It is an imposition in ignorance. It is seen in ignorance, and therefore you are not seeing the rope. You are not seeing the snake. You are seeing the rope as snake. In the same manner, here also, you are not seeing the universe. You are seeing only yourself as the universe. You are seeing only yourself as the universe. It is a distortion about yourself, and therefore, what is a distortion of yourself is called avidya. What is a distortion of yourself is called avidya. And therefore, Prakritim Swam Avashtabhya. Now, Bhagavan says, the eighth verse, Bhagavan says, Prakritim Swam Adhishtabhya. I control the Maya. Prakritim. I control the Maya. Prakritim Swam. It's my own Prakriti. Avashtabhya. Visrajami Punah Punaha. Controlling my Prakriti, I create again and again. It is the logic, it is not his will. See, you have to understand what the difference between the law and the will. The will is entertained, the law is there present, the law functions, as per the law. Like law of causation, it doesn't have any will. In the cause becomes the effect. That is, the action becomes the result. Therefore, there is a difference between the will and the law. God has no will. God is a presence. Presupposing his presence is the whole universe. Presupposing water's presence are all the waves. Presupposing the presence of the rope is the snake. Presupposing the fact is the error perceived. And therefore, here also, I am an individual. I perceive my embodiment, presupposing my presence as absolute. Presupposing my presence as absolute, I perceive myself as an embodied being, individual, the willed individual. Presupposing my presence as absolute, I see myself as embodied individual. And therefore, here, Prakriti Swamadishtabhya, and Prakriti Visrujami Punah. It is by the law, everything is born again. By law, everything is born. Even though it is said here that by Prakriti, even though he says that I create everything, as though it sounds as though it is his will. By his will, he creates. It is not his will. Like the pot maker makes the pots, not by his will. He creates by his will, all right. But Parameshwara doesn't create by his will. If Parameshwara also has a will, then he will be like a jiva, like us. He will have likes and dislikes. He cannot be impartial. He would also be partial. God cannot be partial. God is absolute. God cannot be relative as like an individual like us. And therefore here Prakritim Swamadashtabhya Visrujami Punah Punah. We have to say that the law it is the law because of which the creation takes place again. The unmanifest world becomes manifest again and again. That is the law. The unmanifest has to become manifest again and again. The manifest has to go into unmanifest state, and the unmanifest has to become manifest again. That is the law. That is not the will of God. Even though we human beings think, just as we have will, we think that God also must have the will. God cannot have the will. God is a presence. Is a presence. He is not a willer. He is not. If he is a willer, he will become a villain, and therefore he will become a villain. He cannot be a willer. He cannot be a willer, and therefore he is only a presence. God is only a presence, and therefore Bhuta Gramam Imam, and all the individuals. Bhuta Gramam means the group of individuals. All the individuals, the group of individuals. Bhuta Gramam. A gram is called a grama because it's a group of houses are called a village. It's called in Sanskrit. It is called a grama. Grama means gaon. Why it's called it's a cluster? It's a cluster of houses, and therefore here also it is said, Bhuta Gramam, Imam Kritsnam, the entire realm of individuals, the entire realm of Avasham, choicelessly, Prakriti Vashat, they become manifest. Prakriti Vashat, that is their nature. It is the Prakriti Vashat means it by the constricted by their nature, constrained by their nature. They become the unmanifest becomes manifest. The unmanifest becoming manifest is manifestation is what is called creation, please. It is not, it is presupposing the presence of the Lord. It is not presupposing the will of the Lord. This I have to say again and again. There is no willer. There is only a presence of divinity. Just as rope is a presence, water is a presence. In the same manner, God is also a presence. Presupposing his presence, he is the whole universe. The whole universe is there. My thoughts are there, presupposing the presence of the Lord. Thoughts are also there, presupposing the presence of the Lord. And therefore, Bhota Gramam Imam Krishnam. Krishnam means completely. Avasham means choicelessly. Prakritehe Vashat means due to constriction of the Prakriti. Prakriti Vashat means due to Prakriti, due to their nature, the unmanifest world has to become manifest again. That is their nature. And this is the verse number 8th G. Now we will go to the 9th verse. Nachamam tani karmani nibadhananti dhananjaya. But then these karmas, the karmas do not bind me. Bhagavan says, these karmas qualify me. They don't bind me means anything that qualifies you is a bondage on you. You think that the body is something that qualifies you. Embodiment qualifies you. And therefore, when you think that the embodiment qualifies you, then it binds you. Whatever you think that qualifies you, binds you. And therefore, the embodiment, namam karma, the jivas becoming manifest now, unmanifest now, don't qualify Paramatma. And therefore, Paramatma is not qualified, and therefore, Paramatma is not bound also. And therefore, Nachimam Tani Karmani Nibadhananti Dhananjaya. The manifestation of the individuals and the non-manifestation of that means waking up and sleeping are not karmas, because before you wake up you don't use the will. After you wake up, the will itself wakes up, and then before you go to sleep also you don't do. You can will to lie down, but you can will to go to sleep, but then at the time of sleep you can't really. There is no will. You find yourself asleep, and therefore before you get up also there is no will used. And therefore this manifestation, there is unmanifestation. You only become manifest and unmanifest. This manifestation of the individuals and the non-manifestation of the individuals does not they do not bind me. Bhagavan says they don't bind me. Jiva doesn't bind me. Jivatma doesn't bind me. They all find themselves awake. They find themselves asleep also, but then that action doesn't bind me. Nachimam tani karmani nibadhananti dhananjaya. Why they don't bind me? Because I don't look upon manifestation as unmanifestation as my nature. It is my prakriti, but it doesn't my nature. It's not it doesn't qualify me. Like the snake, it doesn't qualify the rope. It is not an adjective of the rope. Between the rope and the snake, between the truth and the error, error is not erroneous thing. There is only erroneous perception. There is no erroneous thing in this world. There is no erroneous object. There is only erroneous perception. And therefore, between erroneous perception and the fact, there is no noun-adjective relationship. There is no noun-adjective relationship, and therefore, the error doesn't qualify the rope. The error doesn't qualify. Erroneous perception doesn't qualify the fact. And therefore, Nachimam Tani Karman Nibadhananti Dhananjaya. Udasenavat. And then God is present, is only a present. Udasenavat means like a person who is Udasena. He is not interested, he is above Ut Asinaha. He is above likes and dislikes. He is free from likes and dislikes. He is a presence. You can't be, it is not that by his will he transcends the likes and dislikes. He is free from the will. And therefore, it is said, Udasenavat Asenam. He is above likes and dislikes. Bhagavan is a presence, and therefore he is free from likes and dislikes. Udasenavat Asenam. Asaktam. And he is not qualified. Asaktam means unattached. Unattached to anything. Unattached to anything. Asaktam. Teshu karmasu. In all those karmas, mean waking up the individual. If the jiva is born and if the jiva dies, it's not my responsibility. It is its own avidya. Its own avidya. That he is born is because of avidya. How he is born, in which situation he is born, that is because of his karma. In what situation that he is born, in what embodiment, in which family he is born, into which family he is born, and in which embodiment he is born, that is because of his karma. And therefore the avidya has to be, the error has to be corrected. The avidya has to be corrected before he becomes liberated. And therefore avidya has to be, ignorance has to be corrected. The error has to be corrected. And therefore I can be free from the snake only, not by killing the snake, by understanding that there is no snake. It doesn't qualify. It's only my perception. It is only my perception. There is no snake there. In this manner, in this here also, I don't have to fear my existence. My individuality is only my perception. My embodiment is only my perception. My perception should not fear, should not frighten me. My perception is only erroneous. It is my erroneous perception. This erroneous perception should not frighten me, and therefore there is no embodiment as such. There is only a perception of embodiment. If it is an embodiment is a thing, then if body is a thing, then I cannot transcend it. But I do transcend. I do transcend in the deep sleep state, and that means it is a perception. Anything that can be transcended is a perception. Anything that if it is a thing, I cannot transcend it. It remains parallel to me. If it remains parallel to me, then it is a problem, and therefore it is a problem. Teshu karmasu. I am unattached. Asaktam. I am not attached to the life of an individual. I'm not attached to the death of an individual. I'm not responsible for his life. I'm not responsible for his death also. I'm only a presence presupposing his life presupposes my presence. His death also presupposes my presence. That is why Bhagavan says, even to forget, my presence is required. सर्वस्य हृदये मत सर्वस्य चाहम हृदये सन्निविष्टः मत स्मृतिर्ज्ञानम अपोहनम च. It is said, apohanam. People cannot remember anything without my presence. People cannot forget also anything without my presence. Forgetting means resolution. He is the layasthanam. He is indeed, Bhagavan is the point of resolution. And therefore even memory, I forget the things, only what I remember, the thoughts. The thoughts resolve in him only. There is no you can't resolve things unto emptiness. They are resolved into their source only, because the Bhagavan is the source. And therefore here, Udasena Vadasenam, I am only a presence, Asaktam, and I am not attached. Teshu Karmasu, man's life and death, I am not attached. Man is born, he in his life, the prayers work. Then why should we pray? If Bhagavan is free from my life, my death, then why should we pray? The prayer also is governed by the law, and then the prayer also brings the results. Prayer also brings the results. If I pray for my good deeds, if I pray for mental purity will come. If I pray for money will come. And therefore, if I pray for health, good health will come. And therefore, when I pray for family peace will come in time. It need not come in time. It need not come immediately. It can come, but in time. And therefore, because there is a law of karma, and the mental action, mental prayer also is a mental action. And being an action, it is governed by the law of karma. And therefore, the law of karma produces result. And therefore, even though it is not born of God's will, it is born of God's presence. It is because of God's presence is there. The law functions. And therefore here, Nachamam Tani Karmani Nibadranti Dhananjaya Udasena Vadasena Masaktam Teshu Karmasu. This is the ninth verse also is completely. And the 10th verse it is said, Maya Adhyakshena Prakriti Hi Suyate. During my presence, in my presence, Maya means by me. Adhyakshena, I am the presiding presence. I am the presiding presence of the whole universe. Maya Adhyakshena. Adhyaksha means I am a presence. Adhyaksha is a presence. Adhyaksha is not the villa. Adhyaksha means Adhi Akshaha. He is a presiding presence. He is a presiding presence. Maya Adhyakshena. Prakriti, the matter, Suyate. It creates Sacharacharam. The Sacharam and Acharam. Sacharacharam means the living and the non-living. The living and the non-living things, the sentient and the insentient being individuals are all created by the Prakriti. They're all made of matter. And therefore, the individuals, whether it is living individuals or living individual, because we have to exclude the consciousness in the living individuals. We have to exclude. The body is matter. Thoughts are matter. Thoughts can be objective. Anything that can be objectified is matter. Anything that can be objectified, this you have to immediately catch it. This is very important. Ji. Anything that can be objectified is material in nature, is matter in nature. Thoughts also can be objectified. Determinations can be anything that can be objectified. The objectifier is different from the objectified, and therefore the objectified is made of matter. It is all prakriti. That is called prakriti. Prakriti suyate sacharacharam. It creates, prakriti creates the sentient and the insentient. Insentient means only the sentient body. The body is made of matter. Prakriti creates. The thoughts are created by the matter, and therefore thoughts are made of matter. Thoughts are material. Thoughts are matter, and the body is matter, and the matter is made of consciousness. Please understand this point very well. Matter is made of consciousness. Matter is made of consciousness. Matter is not parallel to consciousness. Even though Sankhya's think that Prakriti, the matter is parallel to consciousness, they are wrong. Vedanta refutes them. It is wrong to think. The right thinking is what is called Vedanta Vichara. The right reflection is what is called the Vedanta. When your reflection is right, knowledge is sure to come. When the reflection is little gadabad, then the reflection and then the knowledge takes time. And therefore here, Maya Adhyakshana Prakriti Suyate. The matter may create, the thoughts may be matter, the body is matter, and everything around the objects around also are matter. But the matter is made of consciousness. Matter is not parallel to consciousness. Matter is made of consciousness. Matter is within you. The whole universe is within you. It looks as though outside you. It looks as though outside you, and it looks as though things. It's a pile of things, but actually it's a pile of perceptions. Because I have told you already, there is no other proof that there is a table. What is the proof of the table? Because I perceive it, and therefore I perceive it to be there, and it is available for perception universally. It is made of wood, and all this I know. And as a jiva, I have the will, but as Parama, as absolute, I have no perception, I have no will, and that is exactly my nature. As an individual, individuality is born of avidya. Absoluteness is the nature of the individual, and therefore that absolute nature of the individual, the absolute is what is called Bhagavan, is called God. And the absoluteness is exactly what is the nature of the jiva. Maya adhyakshena prakriti suyate sacharacharam. Prakriti creates the insentient and the insentient. Hetuna anena kaunteya. And because Prakriti creates everything, this is the reason Jagad Viparivartate. This is what is called Parivartanam. This is called the change. The change in the universe is only because of this. That's creation and resolution. It manifest and unmanifest. That is the Parivartanam. Because matter, when it changes, it doesn't become consciousness. It changes, but it remains matter only. Like the seed becomes a plant, and a plant becomes a tree, and a tree becomes a planks, and supposing it catches fire, it becomes ashes, and the ashes also matter only. It doesn't become anything non-matter, and therefore the matter may change, but the matter remains matter, and therefore this is very important. Ji. The matter remains matter. That matter is not parallel to consciousness. That matter is made of consciousness, and therefore that is the only change. The only change is that now it is manifest, now it is unmanifest, now it is created, now it is resolved. What is the time, please? Huh? 5 more minutes. Yes. One more verse we can see. Avajananti mam mudaha. Avajananti. People always avajananti mam mudaha. When you are a human being, you think you look down upon yourself. Even Bhagavan is looked down upon. And therefore, avajananti mam mudaha. Manushim tanumashritam. Because I take the human body. Because I take the human body. You take yourself as the human body. and you think that you look down upon yourself and you commit suicide also. And here Bhagavan says, life is not meant for terminating it. Life is meant for understanding yourself. Life is not meant for, because you can't have sukha dukkha alone. So just to suffer the dukkha and to enjoy the sukha alone is not meant for me. That is not life meant for. Life is meant for only understanding yourself, because it is said, avajananti, insult me, mudaha, the ignorant, manushim, tanumashritam. I take human body, Krishna takes Parameshwara, the absolute only takes the jiva. The jiva is none other than absolute as jiva. The jiva, an individual, is none other than the absolute, looking like an individual, seeing himself as an individual. And therefore, like what is a wave? How do you define wave? Water as wave is a wave. Water seen as a wave is a wave. Similarly, jiva is only Paramatma, but it is seen as an individual embodied. It is only seen as the rope as seen as snake is a snake. The rope rope changed into a snake. Rope seen as snake, distorted perception. Rope seen as a snake is a snake. There is no snake there. There is only a rope, and therefore you are seeing the rope as snake. Similarly, you are seeing not the jiva. You are not seeing yourself as an individual. You are seeing yourself, the absolute, as an individual, and therefore that absolute is exactly what is called God. That absoluteness is your nature, and therefore it is said, Sadeva Swami Dhamagras is Ekameva Advitiyam, that Brahman, that Sat, that existence of the whole universe is indeed the Sat, he is called Sat, and that Sat is called Atma, and that the what? That Parameshwara is the what? It is said. That Parameshwara the what means, that Parameshwara the what means, that absolute the what? That absolute is your nature. That absolute the what? Call it absolute, call it really the Parameshwara, God, it doesn't matter at all. Yeah, by any name you can call. But it is what is to be, what is important is that you are understanding. What is to be understood, that absolute means the individual is not an individual. You are not perceiving you yourself as an individual. You are not perceiving yourself as an individual. You are perceiving yourself as the absolute as an individual. Like you are not seeing the wave other than water. You are seeing the water as the wave, and therefore the water as the wave is being seen, and therefore wave is a perception, water is a fact. Wave is a perception, snake is a perception, and rope is a fact. Similarly, absoluteness is a fact, individuality is only that you are the body is only a perception, and therefore that you are the body and the mind is only a perception. That I am the thoughts, I am the thinker, I am the physical. In this manner is one who says is avidya. One finds oneself saying that I am the body, I am the thoughts. It is only he is only seeing the absolute as an individual. He is not seeing the individual as an individual. If he sees the individual as an individual, then it is right knowledge. There would not be any adhyasa. But then he is not seeing the wave as a wave. He is seeing the water as a wave. He is not seeing the snake as a snake. He is seeing the rope as a snake. Similarly, he is seeing the absolute as an individual. He is not seeing the individual as an individual. He is seeing the absolute as an individual. And therefore, it is a perception. It is a mere perception. It is distorted perception. And therefore, that distorted perception, until it is corrected, there is no way of redemption. Until the error cannot go away, until it is corrected. Parambhavam ajanantaha, without knowing the fact. Parambhavam means the factuality, the actuality. Parambhavam ajananta. Param means the timeless bhavam. That you are indeed the timeless. You are indeed the timeless. You are being, because you are identified with the body, and therefore you think that you are an individual. but otherwise you are absolute. You are Parambhavam Ajananta. Without knowing your timeless nature, you think you insult yourself and you look down upon yourself. You look down upon yourself, that is because you look down upon yourself, that is because you think that you are only a jiva and you are limited to the body, and therefore any problem comes, you commit suicide. The life is not meant for committing suicide. Life is meant for understanding yourself. You have to live a long life. It is always better to live a long life. Your mind should be alert, that is enough. Your body may be old, your mind has to be, mentally you should be young. If you are mentally young, even if you are physically old, it doesn't matter at all. And therefore, Parambhavam Ajananta, Mama Bhutam Maheshwaram. Me, that what is the timeless? It is the truth of all India, all objects. That the timeless is the truth of all objects. Mama Bhuta Maheshwaram. It is me. I am the Mama Bhutam Maheshwaram. My nature is that I am the truth of all individuals. I am the underlying presence of all objects. I am the underlying presence of all objects. I am underlying presence. I am not underlying the villa. I am not underlying presence. In the same manner, here also, you can say that you are the underlying presence of everything. You are underlying presence. You are not the thoughts. You are underlying presence of the mind thoughts. You are not the mind. You are underlying presence of the mind. You are not the body. You are underlying presence of the body. In this manner, you can understand yourself as the absolute. As the presence, you are absolute. As the willer, you are an individual. As an individual, you suffer, and whereas as absolute, you are free. And therefore, it is said here, Parambhavam Ajananta, Mama Bhuta Maheshwaram. Maheshwaraha means Mahan Ishwaraha. He is indeed, Parameshwara is indeed Mahan. He is indeed the unlimited being. The being, because he is the unlimited being, that unlimited being is not other than you. When that unlimited being is not other than you, because you are also a presence. When you can transcend the will, that means the transcendent, that transcendence of your being, that your being that transcends the will is non-existent. You can't say it is existent. Otherwise, you can't transcend. You can't be free from the will. That you are free. Your freedom from the will also is a fact. That you have the will is a way you, that is in your perception. That I have the will is a perception. That I am the individual is a perception. That I am the body is a perception. But I am free from the body and the will is a fact. Therefore, you don't have to think that it is not, I am the body. You should not think I am the body, I am the villa, etc. I am the thinker. I am an underlying presence of the thinking. I am underlying presence, I am quiet presence of the thinking. Like just as the sound is not parallel to the silence, please. The sound is born in silence, and it is sustained by silence, and it shall go back into silence. And therefore the sound is in silence only. The sound is made of silence. In the same manner, that silence is only yourself. That silence is yourself. Everything is born of silence and sustained by silence and go back into silence. And that silence never becomes unmanifest. It is always there manifest. And the silence is, in that silence only everything is present. Everything is born, sustained, and resolving point. And it resolves also onto silence. Everything is born in silence. And therefore, just as the sound is not parallel to silence, in the same manner, the universe is not parallel to awareness. It is not parallel to awareness. You are indeed that awareness. You are inclusive of everything. You are not an exclusive being. You are an all-inclusive being. You are as the body. It is exclusive. The body excludes other objects, but as consciousness, you are inclusive of every object. You are inclusive of everything, and the more of it we will see in the next class. Thank you very much. पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते. ओम शांति शांति शांति. Thank you, Ji. And you are all right. And you will all be able to come. Please come. Next class will be